Hi, hello, it is I, Mango. Have you ever watched a Genshin video or a person playing Genshin and they talk about artifacts and character builds and you know nothing about them? Well, if you said no, you don't have to watch this video. But if you said yes, well, that's what I'm here for. I am here to explain the basics of artifacts and what you need to know about them. I'm just going to say that I am not going to explain everything in like specific detail. You can probably find like specific character builds that will explain it much better than I will. I'm just here to basically talk about the basics and what you need to know about them. Because there's a lot of people that I know personally that started playing and always ask me about artifacts, and so that is what this video is for. Again, I will probably forget some things here and there, and I am not an expert on this stuff. I don't know much about like the whole numbers and that stuff here or stuff there. I'm just going to, teach beginners about the basics. Okay, first, let's get into the artifacts. Before I go into this, I'm just going to point out that usually you don't want to focus on artifacts until adventure rank 45. Because at adventure rank 45, that's when you unlock a domain where you can actually start getting 5-star artifacts. So the majority of this guide I'm going to be using 5-star artifacts to demonstrate, so yeah. Anyway, as you can tell, obviously, you have 5 artifact pieces per character set, whatever, you know what I mean. You have, whoopsies, you have your flower, your feather, your timepiece, your goblet, and your headpiece. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going to be using these terms throughout the entire guide, and I'm just making sure that people understand what I'm saying. Okay, so the thing you want to note about your artifacts is that your flower will always have an HP main stat right here, and you can find the main stats right above here. And your feather is always going to have an attack main stat, which is also right here. Your timepiece, your goblet, and your headpiece will all change within main stat and substats. And these little stats right here are your substats. An artifact can have up to 4 substats. Now, also note that certain stats can only go onto different pieces of your artifacts. For an example, all of these, the timepiece, the goblet, and the headpiece can all have HP, attack, defense. Yeah, the usual. But only, like for say, the goblet can have elemental damage bonus main stat. For an example, you can see right here, I have a geo damage bonus goblet. And for right here, for Mona, I have a hydro damage bonus goblet. And for the timepiece, for an example, I have HP for Zhongli, which I will go into a minute for reason why. I have elemental mastery, and you can also have energy recharge, attack. Depending on your character, you would want to put that on them, and I will get into the character scaling later on and why it's important to notice your artifacts and link them up with them. And so for your headpiece, you can have crit rate main stat, which I don't have right now, but I have a crit damage one. You can either have crit rate, crit damage, you can have healing bonus, which is right here. You can have healing bonus for any characters that you want to boost their healing abilities. You can have elemental mastery, which I don't really see that much, but it's possible. But usually you would want to look for crit rate or crit damage. Same thing for the goblet. You would probably want to look for elemental damage bonus that links along with your character. I mean, it's recommended, but it depends whatever character build you want for your character, and it depends on character you are using. And again, for your timepiece, it depends what character you're using and what you want to look in their stats into. Now, you may be asking, what is crit rate or crit damage? Or you may be not asking that at all. Maybe you already know. I don't know. I'm just going to explain it anyway, because a lot of people don't know what it means. Crit rate is basically, well, first of all, your crit stands for critical, and when you do crit damage, you just basically do more damage, and your crit rate increases the rate of when you're doing that damage, if that makes sense. I'm not that great at explaining, I'm trying my best. But, yeah, that's why crit rate and crit damage is most important, because that can enhance your DPS abilities, or your damage in general abilities you can do for a DPS. It's very important for a DPS or a sub DPS, whatever you want to go for. Now, again, Although you want to look for crit rate and crit damage, you also want to look for the certain stats depending on your character again. It's really important to know what your character needs in order for your character to be useful to you. It really depends. But usually most of the time you want to look for crit rate or crit damage. And so some other stats that might be useful to you other than crit rate and crit damage would be attack percent. Usually attack percent would help a lot. And there is a difference between attack percent and flat attack. Flat attack is when you have an attack with just a whole number here. Attack percent will obviously have a percentage. Usually attack percent is better than just flat attack for, obvious reasons. Like let's say I have 50 out of 200 and I have 50. But if I have 50% out of 200, I have a total of 100. The basic math, whatever. Okay, now let's talk about substats and artifact upgrading. So the max amount of times you can upgrade your artifact is up to level 20 here. Level 20 is the max amount for a 5-star artifact. Every time you level up your artifact by 4, you will upgrade one of your substats and or gain another substat if you don't have a max of 4 already. So usually there's like certain percentages that increase your substats, like a max crit damage roll or a max attack percent roll, but we're not going to go into that. That's more of like, the details and stuff that I'm not going to get into. So yeah, you can upgrade your artifact amount for a max of 5 times if you're using a 5-star artifact. For 4-star artifacts, it's 4 times, and the max level is 16. Usually you want to go for 5 stars so that way you can max or increase your crits, or increase your attack, your substats. You can increase your substats more if you have a 5-star. So usually you want to aim for those. But if you don't have anything else, you can use a 4-star one, so temporarily. Like, the rate to get good substats or to upgrade your substats is completely random, and so you won't be guaranteed to get, like, a crit rate bonus. Like, right here, I really was aiming for crit rate, crit damage, but it just went all into attack and elemental mastery, which is something I didn't really need at all, and it went into crit rate once. So, yeah, it's completely random, so that's why it's important to, grind your artifacts and find good substats, because you never know if they're gonna upgrade into terrible things. Okay, now that we've gotten the main part, the main idea of the stats of your artifacts, let's focus on the artifact set. You can see right on the side here, I have a set bonus. Every artifact has a set bonus, and I know my VTuber model is covering it, but I'll put a picture somewhere on the side for you to see. My Zhongli right now has Archaic Petra, which its 2-piece set or bonus has a gain 15% geo damage bonus. Every artifact has a certain set that you want to look for your characters. For my Hu Tao, I have a 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flame set, and the 4-piece bonus is increases overloaded and burning damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using an elemental skill increases the 2-piece set bonus by 50% of its starting value for 10 seconds. Max is 3 stacks, and its 2 bonus sets pyro damage bonus plus 15%. You always want to look on the artifact set bonus. Like for Maiden's Beloved is usually a good set for healer characters. You always want to look on the side for its set bonus. So it's really important for your characters and how you want to play them. Like right now I have a physical set on Kaya that I need to redo because it's not great right now. Same thing for Beta. I did not have any good artifacts for Beta, so she has a temporary set right now. But yeah, you want to look at your character set bonuses. It's really important to have those. You can have a 2-piece set of something, a 4-piece set of something, a 2-piece of this, a 2-piece of that. You just need to make sure to read on the side to see what it is and if it'll benefit your character in any way. Or you just don't care and only care about substats. That's what... Some people play that way. I'm not here to judge, but it's important to look at the set bonus at least. Alright, now we got all that down. You might be asking yourself earlier, how do I know what my characters need, or what stats they need in order to do better? As I said before, it does depend what character you're using to do better, and so if you want to know what stats specifically that your character needs, you have to look in your talents. Well, usually it's your talents. And for an example, it's for Zhongli, it says here that if you hold his elemental skill, he creates a shield of jade, The shield's damage absorption scales based off of Zhongli's max HP. So you'd usually want to build HP on him so that way his shield is stronger. Another example would be Barbara. For Barbara's skill, it says, on hit, Barbara's normal attacks heal your own party members and nearby teammates for a certain amount of HP, which scales off of Barbara's max HP, which means that she can heal more the more HP that she has. And so you want to build HP on Barbara so she can heal your teammates more. And so now, once you have all of your artifacts and your weapon and everything, you want to make sure that you check your details and attributes to see your crit rate, crit damage ratio, or your energy recharge, or your elemental damage bonuses on whatever character you're using. And so this will also help you if you need to check to get more either crit rate or crit damage. You can switch out some headpieces to fix your ratio, or if you need more energy recharge or elemental damage bonus, whatever you want. But it's just very important to check so you make sure that your stats are all good to go. Oh, and if you're wondering what the crit rate, crit damage ratio is, usually 1 to 2. That's the one that I usually go by, or at least get around 60 to 70% crit rate and as much crit damage as possible. But yeah, if you're ever if you ever have like way too much crit damage and too little crit rate, you can always switch your headpiece to have more crit rate and not have as much crit damage, because usually you want that ratio to be pretty good. Or it also depends on your weapons. Your weapons have a little stat right here that can boost your crit rate or crit damage or attack or whatever that will help your character. Usually having a crit rate or crit damage weapon will help building your character a lot more easier, so you don't have to focus on trying to, raise these stats at the same time. And so with that, that's all I know personally about artifacts and what I think it's important to know, like the basic details that's summed up so far. If you have any questions whatsoever, or if you're confused about anything, please let me know in the comments. I will try my best to help you, because I know this video is not one of my best. I am not good at explaining at all. So please tell me if you're confused, because yeah, no, I'm just not good at explaining these. But if you're not confused, well, that's great. I hope I help you. And if you like to see any more Genshin content that I do, then be sure to like and subscribe. I do sometimes Friday Night Funkin', and I'm trying to think of other games that I could play. But yeah, I really hope this helped. But if you're confused about anything, please tell me in the comments, because I really want to help. And so yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed the video.